Well, an Upper Marlboro church recently returned from a 9-day visit to the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
The Second Congo War ended in the late 90s, but conflict continues in the eastern part of the country, leaving millions dead and others scarred by rape and sexual violence.
And Pastor Jonathan Weaver with the Greater Mount Nebo Church in Upper Marlboro is joining us now to talk about his recent trip. And tell us, what was the purpose of this trip?
I was invited to be one of the speakers at their National Prayer Breakfast on November the 10th, but also I was going to visit with members of the A.M.E. Church there in the eastern region of Congo.
Now, as we said in the intro, the Second Congo War ended in the late 90s, but even while you were there and after you left, there's still battles going on over there. It's dangerous. Talk to us about what it's like for the people living there.
It's a very, very discouraging situation, and quite frankly, particularly in the eastern portion of the country, very dangerous at this juncture. Rebels who have been, shall we say, in disagreement with the national government for many years, literally took over the city of Goma 2 days after I left the country. And unfortunately, at this point in the eastern region of Congo, just over the last month, 2.4 million people have been displaced. In Goma, for example, they have been without electricity for no more than 1 or 2 hours a day. There is no clean water within the city right now. People are having to go to one of the nearby lakes in order to pull up water, but unfortunately, of course, it's not clean. And so it's a very trying circumstance. There's a woman in the eastern part of the country that is raped once every 46 minutes. And over the last 10 years, close to 6 million people have died, largely because people are fighting over minerals, diamonds, coltan. Coltan, by the way, is one of the minerals that's contained in every cell phone and in every laptop.
And you had mentioned to us during, when we spoke earlier before the broadcast, that this is, you know, something that is in 70% of our cell phones. So.
Well, 70% of the coltan in the world is found in Congo, but in every cell phone there is coltan, and in every laptop. But unfortunately, most people in America really do not have much information, if any, about the continent of Africa, much less about Congo. I'm reminded that, quite frankly, the darkest thing about Africa, quite frankly, is America's ignorance of it. And so just this opportunity to be able to share some things about what's happening there is important.
We're watching some video now. Tell us about this video, and also tell us, for people watching at home, what can they do to help?
Well, one of the things that they can do through even our organization and through the A.M.E. Church, what they're seeing right now are kids at an orphanage owned and operated by the A.M.E. Church. They're in Bukavu, one of the cities that is badly affected by the crisis there in the eastern region. And as a result of that, as I mentioned earlier, with so many women being raped and children that are now orphans, what we've done is to provide financial support so that the women can receive medical support as well as psychological support, because you can imagine of the emotional scarring that is taking place. But here at this site, when you're talking about a country now where the average income is less than $1 a day, that indeed to operate an orphanage like this takes money, but yet in many instances, even in the churches, they have very little money to be able to handle this. And so we're providing financial support through our church, certainly others that may be interested in supporting this effort. And we strongly believe in accountability, and so they have actually been sending back to us an accounting to show how the money has been spent, to have the women transported to a clinic, to receive the medical care, the psychological care, and in many instances, husbands have been receiving psychological care as well, because regrettably, out of tradition, many husbands shun their wives once they've been the victims of rape. But now we are providing this kind of support to let them know, husbands, it's not your wife's fault, and you need support as well to be able to provide comfort for your wife. And so that's where the money has been spent.
Tell us about your impression of the Congolese people themselves.
Absolutely warm, hospitable people. They're absolutely friendly, and they would love to see more and more Americans. I was one of 3 Americans attending the National Prayer Breakfast out of about 900 people in attendance there. I had an opportunity to talk. I had a 1-hour private meeting with the Prime Minister, sharing with him that even people from Prince George's County would love, I think, once they became aware of it, of opportunities to partner with the people of Congo, both on the public as well as on a private level, to be able to help promote infrastructural development in the mining sector, energy, technology, but people need to be made aware of it.
How can you make people feel secure that their money and their safety won't be at risk in a war-torn country like this?
Well, I think that by working through non-governmental organizations, perhaps the best way to do it. I mean, working through, for example, even through the church, Greater Mount Nebo, we're able to account for it. As a matter of fact, I'm in constant contact with people there virtually every day, either by text, email, Skyping. And so I think that rather than trying to go through governmental entities, non-governmental organizations would be better.
Thank you so much for joining us, and you told us that you all will be returning, church members and yourself, in March to continue your work there.
That is correct.
All right, thank you so much for coming today.
Pleasure.